record. And I say, yo, what up?
Hey, what's going on, Tam?
Nothing much. Mr. Cool Cruise. We're doing a deck doctor for your very awesome all-symboled stain deck. How neat, how neat, how neat. For anybody out there who doesn't know how deck doctors work, basically, if you go and support me over on Patreon at a specific deck doctor tier, we're gonna sit down with Cool Cruise and we're gonna chat. We're gonna talk about stain. He's gonna give me the elevator pitch, and we're gonna see if we can polish this deck and make it as spicy as we can. So with that, man, hit me with the pitch. What's going on with this deck? As you do that, I'm gonna jump into another tab and find some cards for us.
Okay. So the elevator pitch is that I'm like kind of new to this game, and Stain jumped out at me as being great. I played this game back when it was UFS, not even Universes, like back when it was UFS. Yeah,
Okay.
not for a long time, but enough to like I'm definitely an old blood. I still call this game UFS out of habit.
Fair.
Yeah, and as soon as I saw Stain and saw that Stain had check hacking, I already knew he was good. Like it didn't matter what else the character did, he had to be good. Like
Right.
just like automatically. So this deck is trying to lean into both parts of his kit a lot. The way I'm doing that is off Unwavering Slash. So normally I know we look at attacks first, but I'm talking about like a few of the 4-ofs because they're like a big package.
Sure.
So like Slash being able to build assets both functionally out of hand or your discard pile. Like this card, honestly, like, and again, I'm getting caught up, but this card seems kind of nutty. Like I'm surprised Slash isn't like a UR for I'm blanking on her name, just with the J, but whatever.
Jiro?
Yeah, Jiro. Slash can build box full of babies, and that lets me spam get use at a start with the basics.
Right.
So basically, I play like a low amount of weapon attacks, and I make them all giant off of like between Slash giving 1/1, box full of babies giving something 1/1 a turn, getting like multiple uses out of start with the basics over turns, giving things like 1 and 2. Like I'm frequently hitting people with like, I mean, it depends on the attack, but like Piercing Descent can get up to like 5 or 6 speed for a bunch of damage, and the attack I just desperately need the attack to connect. Being able to like hack their block check to make sure that it goes through as effectively an extra +3 speed, hitting people with like basically 9-10 speed Piercing Descents for like 11 or 12 damage. It depends on like what buffs go into it, but just giant like weapon attack.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Hit me with the foundation ideas. What do you got going on foundation wise?
Foundation wise, I wanted to make sure that I could consistently build out a lot of my first turn. So like almost half my foundations are 0s and 1s. Like out of 33 foundations, 14 are like spam foundations. I want to make sure that I could like get an opening hand and build it out like 4 or 5. From there, other than start with the basics, it's just a mix of like at least what I felt was quality foundations, special sound, giving speed hate, and helping me make sure my turns flow. I think the only like really kind of like techie stuff I'm running is like I have 1 spooky. I feel like a lot of attacks in this game from the footage I've seen tend to get either really fast or just like really meaty. So being able to like flip attacks into an area I'm more able to deal with is nice. If someone puts a bunch of damage on stuff, I can flip it around. There's some stuff I don't get a ton of mileage out of. Like Starlit, I know is great in Momo, but I just don't have that many ways to like actually weaponize it. I only have like the 2 Starlets and the 3 Intimidating Presence for weapon assets.
Right.
I'm sorry, for weapon foundations.
Right.
And boxes and a weapon asset. So
thank goodness.
It's a little yeah, that's true. That's true.
So why is it here? Why not just like more villains defeated or more plugged in, second spooky, more hero killer? Why is this not a 4-of?
Mostly because I was, as a guy who's coming back, I'm not sure how good or bad all of these foundations are. Like
fair.
So a lot of this is like coward split. So I could totally see Starlit getting cut for like a 3rd killer and a 3rd plugin, for example. A lot of this is like coward splits. That's why there's a lot of 2s.
Yeah. Fair. 54 cards. How married are you to this number?
It doesn't have to be at 54, but I don't want to end up at like 62 or 63, since a lot of the core gimmick is off of Slash, box full of babies, and start with the basics. Getting too far away from 54 would makes that less consistent.
Fair.
But from
totally fair.
I'm open to a lot of stuff.
All right. Speaking of a lot of stuff, here's a sideboard card. First and foremost, let's talk about attacks. Yo, you trying to play some one checks or what's up? What up with this though, huh? You trying to play some one checks?
Granted, I don't have like a ton of testing with this, but I played Slicer for a bit, and in my testing, I just found Slicer being a one check more annoying than like another good weapon attack.
Fair
Like,
enough.
it's a solid card, but yeah, the one check I just find so annoying. If this was like even like a two or usually a three check, if it was like a two check, it'd be great.
Okay.
It's big damage and it helps find attacks. I know my attack count is a little low, so I'm open to like pumping that. I just don't know if I would pick Dropkick as like my choice.
Yeah, I would like my thing is I think Dropkick Slicer is really good at just like finding bonus stuff and like extending out a turn, especially with how low the attack count you have. It could easily be like a 2 of and like toss double take out 2 piercings and put in 1 Dropkick Slicer, because this card's also like a beautiful poke, right? I play Dropkick Slicer, I mill 2 attacks off the top. Those are my 2 blocks for the turn. I build it on my foundations and I hold 2 blocks, right? This card just says I burn them for 1 draw 2. What an insane rate. Actually insane. And they still have to block it because it's a 5 high for 5 high for 5. And so if it touches them, then we're off to the races with our response. I think the card is correct in him. I think it's very, very good. I would play it all day. Invincible Clasp and Facepalm Takedown are stained masterpieces under these 2 symbols because they are throws. And that just turns on the response. It just says, we're on. It doesn't have to be a total weapon build, right? Like we could toss 1 create bow staff to the wind. We could toss 1 piercing, 1 double blade slash, and just like put in triple invincible clasp and love it. And this deck would absolutely love it because of just like, hey, this is gonna be a 6 damage move no matter what, and it turns my response on. It's a beautiful, beautiful poke. I don't think you need both, because of like what you're trying to do with the scheme of the deck, but like seeing this card on turn 2 says that your response is live for the rest of the game. It just is. They have to waste a ton of resources to stop it.
Dropkick Slicer's burn effect also turns on his response too, right?
Sadly, it does not, because it says when they lose health. Only people like, sorry, if they've taken damage. Sorry, if it said they've lost health, then yes, but it says if they've taken damage. And taking damage is exclusively from this number here on the card.
Got it. Okay. In which case, yeah, probably a few throws in.
Yeah, I think throws are very, very cool for turning them on. It might not be what we do with this. I think if this list is not really tickling your fancy and you really want to play Stain, like 4 clasp, 4 Facepalm, and then whatever else other cool value cards you want. Also, like if these hit, it's just like, 2 free momentum for your Slashing Whirlwinds. And a way to just turn on your Slashing Whirlwinds on the turn, right? Just like, we're into that. That's cool. I think this could be like another way to pivot the deck, but I think probably for this list they're probably gonna come out. But I saw them and I had a brain blast while I was looking, and there it is. Amplified Sound. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
When I was looking at attacks, that was one of the things I considered was like I wanted ways to like make sure I could trigger his enhance early, and I ended up setting on a place at a double sway slash because it's like incredibly fast for like relatively low damage, and if the opponent blocks it, then they're probably going to commit out early on, so I can poke them with something else, and that'll get it going. But a throw just to like, you can do whatever you want with it. I don't care. You're going to take at least the damage from it. Makes sense too.
Right. Or they have to like burn a wall cling or something, right? Which means that like they might not have it for the piercing descent later if they've only got a mid or whatever. Like I think, and this is a 5 diff where this is a 4 diff, and the crazy thing is, like if it's just doing that job of just turning on our character, we don't even have to lose the 2 health. I'm down for them to block this and still take their 2. They're not going to block it. They just won't block this move. It's 3 damage. Who cares? Right? Whereas at the same thing, they won't block this one because it's also 3 damage. But they have a chance to block this one because it's mid. Right? And it's not a throw. So they will sell out to block this. And you have to have a second move. And this was a 5 diff. What happens if we check a 2-1 prime? Right? This card is just just a better version of what this card is doing. But this card is a weapon, and it's going to bring me to my next thing, which is we could play Staff Strike.
The first version of this list I had a couple copies of Staff Strike, and it felt unnecessary for me.
Okay.
But I don't exactly have a ton of games with like MHA, so it's hard for me saying that like with any kind of fervor. So I cut it, but I did have it, and I'm super open to having it back in because it was neat. it's basically an 8 difficulty, but man, it kills people.
It certainly can. It certainly can. It feels very, very good. The way that we cheat that cost is with the Amplified Sound Blast, which is a low flash, which means if they don't have the low block, we hit them, they deal damage, and now our response is on. And it also has this momentum ability that flips, and then your next weapon gets -2 difficulty. So you play your Double Blade Slash, you flip this card, you play your Rising Starlet, you play your Staff Strike, and now it's just on a 6 again. We're chill with it.
Got it.
And then my last big thing is create Capture Net. This card is very similar to what Double Blade Slash is doing, except for it is the 4 diff. It builds a foundation down so that your things are a little more live a little more often. Things like start with the basics. If you want it to be live on this current turn, you get to do that. It also randomly has stun 2. It is off zone. It's a low block, but it's just not very fast. And so if they read you, they hold the low block, it's kind of free.
But it is still, yeah. Like I said, I'm open to a lot of adjustments, so we could try like completely adjusting the entire like attack lineup. Because also my attack line not only is a 16, but it's basically like 4 4-ofs, right? Other than like
Correct.
3 roll 1 tap. So you could totally trim like Descents and Blade Slashes to make room. I wouldn't want to cut Unwavering Slash.
Yeah, Unwavering
like,
staying for sure. Yeah. That card's messed up.
Yeah, but like everything else is trimmed.
I don't think you need Bow Staff even a little bit. I think this card is not very good in your deck. Genuinely, I think this card is not good. It's only good if you're playing something like Staff Strike. Bow Staff, add the Weapon Foundation in. Staff Strike says that you don't have to build the foundation in between. You don't have to like waste a good check if you stack something or whatever. And so like I think
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good. You're good.
Bow Staff is literally in here as a janky 5th Unwavering Slash as a way to pick a box full of babies. I'm not married to this card in the slightest.
Fair, and then it's gone. I think this card, you're gonna find very little value out of this 4/3 4 mid for 4 that like doesn't even build the foundation and it like adds it to your hand. It's the world's worst draw 1. Yuck. Yeah, I'd rather see a Dropkick Slicer than that card. You know, the better block, it'll do a better job of like adding more cards to hand or being more impactful on the turn, and they actually have to block it. Right, it's off zone, it's 5 damage. They have to do something about it. Or it could be like this Invincible Clasp. So the big question. So my very first question, attack lineup wise, is I think we want to push to 18 attacks. I think 18 is the perfect number and keep this 54-55. I think 55-18 attacks is what we're looking for. Because we need to be able to keep pushing as best that we can. I do understand that we have box full of babies. I get that. But the fact that we've got things that ready our cards, and we're going to be playing things like Zoom to look at the top card of our deck to make sure that we don't check bad on our first one, or we can move around and move accordingly, is very good. It's very, very good for us. We're going to be putting this card in. I'm fairly positive. So my question is the first decision you have to make, Dropkick Slicer, yes or no? And once again, this is your deck. You can say no to everything. We can leave it exactly how you want it. I'm here to be a sounding board. Slicer, yes or no?
I think between drop kicks and throws, I'd probably go with drop kick.
Drop kick? Okay. So let's go ahead and just toss this in at a 2 of, and then let's see what happens here. So I think personally, since we've got Piercing Descent and Unwavering Slash and Dropkick Slicer, one of these needs to be dropped down. So I think the answer is probably, I think, Piercing Descent down to a 1 of. Just to keep, I mean, this is 4, 5, 6, 7 low blocks. We now need to put in some more high blocks. And so I think that we take the throws and we put them back in the deck. I think we take 3, if not 4, of these Invincible Clasps and put them in.
Okay.
Because we're not selling out to the Staff Strike build. It's either that or we put in Create Capture Net. So those are the 2 choices, right? We've got Capture Net or we've got Clasp.
Let me look at Capture Net again. Sorry.
For sure. 4/3, 2 low for 4, 2 high block, charge, weapon, combos with the foundation, combo enhance, attack gains, stun 2, and then enhance, build 1 foundation from your card pool face up.
I don't know how doable this is, but I kind of think 3 net and 2 to throw. Like, I like having a couple of throws as like an easy. If I see it, it turns me on for the check hack. But if I don't see something, end of the world. But like Capture Net, yeah, this is a really good card too. I'm surprised I missed this.
That is putting us up to 19, so we probably want to drop one card somewhere. I think 18 is the number, so like taking
Probably,
double
like,
Blade Slash
yeah,
to
Blade
3
Slash, like, 3,
might be where it's at.
Yeah, I think Blade Slash to 3, so that's what I was gonna say, is maybe trim Blade Slash 1.
I'm into it. Yeah, this looks great. This looks really, really good. Obviously, we can't touch a box. We can't touch earphone jack. I think both of these are super necessary. Getting to re-ready more foundations in relation to Slash is very good. We do have the option to play ultra compressed weights. We do have the option to play quick create. This card's a very good deadlock ability. So even if this was just like if we found the room for a one of, deadlock, first enhance, double your weapon attacks, speed and damage. Hey, this is now a 10 mid for 8, and I'll discard my 2 momentum for the plus 10. All right, this is a 10 mid for 18. Catch.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, have fun.
And really 13 mid for 18 because I'm gonna hack your chat.
Correct, and it's got the plus 1 from because it's weapon, right? Like
yeah, it's gonna be. You're gonna die.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. So I think quick creation is very, very neat. It does increase our deck count, which means that we're losing foundations, which means we're losing checks. And having 6 assets in our 55 card deck is probably going to be rough to do. So, like, I would probably suggest, like, if you wanted to do this, and this is, like, a suggestion, we could put box down to 3 and then earphone quick create to widen our net. Because, like, the difference between having 3 boxes and 4 boxes on play is, like, so little. But the difference between having 1 and 1 is beautiful.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're gonna add create. We can cut a box because it's also like anytime we check or review a quick creation, we can just build it back up later. So it's probably worth it to have the option, just to have like the deadlock enhance.
So the other cool thing we get to do with quick creation, like the cool combo, is we like play a foundation, right? I'll play Intimidating Presence or whatever, right? And then I capture net and I check my 5. I check any foundation I want. I then quick create to just jam the foundation that I checked in on top, and then I use capture net to build that foundation down. And so I actually plus 1'd as opposed to going even. So now this is a 2 low for 6 because this thing gave it plus 2 damage, and I got to build a bonus thing, right? Imagine building in a challenge in the fakes because I checked the 5 on the capture net. Not to mention that like the bonus card in addition to this, right? Like there's like that neat little tactic there. As well as, like, accidentally, like, this just, like, is minus 2 damage on your opponent. Like, it messes with a little math on defense, right? It feels cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Actions. Sugar Rush Power Up is insane. This card's nuts. This card's so crazy. It is, I mean... Going into my thing, I am looking to play a deck with one of these 2 symbols or one of these 3 symbols exclusively because this card exists. Remove 10 bad, lame cards from my discard pile for +2/+4 is the thing that will, like, I don't know, make your clasp into a 5 high for 7. Just kidding, it's a 5 high for 10. All for 2 cards, right? This card says that now my Dropkick Slicer is now a 6 high for 9, and then it's a 7 high for 9, and then it will burn them for 1 because it dealt damage, and the check gets a -3 because of our character. This card is like freer than free. It's really, really good.
Okay. I was iffy on running any actions since I already have like 5 assets up, but if there's room for that, then yeah, like a couple like this card does seem really nutty, so I am open to a couple copies.
It also says enhance remove, flip my opponent's creepy realization, and I hate that card.
So. And I did just watch the finals and saw how creepy, like, I mean, like the frog player was great, don't get me wrong, but creepy carried a lot of the weight in that game.
100%. It just rolled them. Yeah, and so like mainboarding 4 of this, I've got an All Might 2 that is just running a bunch of crazy stuff under the all symbol and just playing this card, and it lets us now play. I didn't even put it in the list. I have to go find it again. This card. Boop. Whoops. This one. It lets us play Night Watch, which is you're an old head. It's just revoke on a foundation that you remove an action from my discard pile.
Yeah, none that we have an action to use in case we check it. Yeah.
Yep. It just like feels really, really good. It feels super, super good.
Yeah. Literally a life-saving effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about foundations, right? I've got a couple here, but I want to chat about like your thoughts on these ones to begin with, right? The first and foremost, intimidating presence. Besides having his big dumb face on it, why is this card in our deck?
Intimidating presence. Other than having his face, like I said, I wanted a lot of like good spam foundations, and presence is effectively, assuming it's the first card to play, it's effectively a 1 mid block. Since it like pings off a speed. The flip effect isn't the most useful, but sometimes it helps punish like decks that are like manipulating their foundations a lot. But like honestly, I mostly had it because it's an efficient block and it's a spam foundation. But if there's like other spam foundations, I'm into it.
To make sure we're on the same page, the static on the card does not affect its block. It essentially says that it doesn't count towards progressive difficulty. It's not in the card pool whenever you're trying to make this card's block. It's in the transit zone. Yep, it is not in the card pool. It is hovering above the card pool as you're trying to make the check. You successfully make the check, it slams itself into the card pool. And then you've already made the check. And so then after the fact, yeah, the attack gets -1 speed, but like you've already passed your block.
That makes me like it less then.
Yeah. Yeah. This card's very good versus like Gran Torino, right? Like Gran Torino's just like readying a bunch of crazy cards, right? Like you just jam 2 of these down, and he's got his Quicken Limbers or whatever, and you're just like, flip it. Sorry, you get it once, and then it's gone. So like this card's really good for that, but I don't know if it's like main board at the 3 of, right? I think this card's like a cool 2 of, and then like zooms it like a 2 of,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I could totally see trimming that for a couple zooms.
Especially because like we have 14 low blocks, so like we have to play more low blocks here. Same thing with like, I don't think we need Rising Starlit. I don't think we need Plug-in. I think I don't think we need these cards. Maybe if you're really afraid of this Dropkick Slicer, we could still play Plug-in, but like it's fine.
I'm not that afraid of it. Yeah, I did have plug-in mostly because it is nice to help like make checks consistent, like to help me inform myself as I'm going along if I can keep pushing. Yeah. But I'm not married to it. And you're right. Now with all the other edits, we have a ton of high blocks. So yeah.
Yeah, we got quite a few.
Yeah, that's a thing to fix.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to cut plug-in. Is that okay? It's just gone.
Yeah.
Me and my homies hate this card, and I also just want to get rid of Rising. I think if we were like selling out to play some cool Stat Strike build, I'd be down for it, but we're not, and so we just don't need this.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's gonna put our count back down to 55, 20, 16, 19. We could say ship it here, but I think there's a little more cleaning we can do. How often do you get like 2 or 3 copies of Start on the board?
2 or 3 copies of Start. Depends on how often I open it. If I open with like 2 or 3 over the first 2 turns, they're always built.
Okay. I kind of want to put it down to a 3 of. I want to put it down to a 3 of, and I want to put Intimidating down to a 1 of, because I think this is neat, but there's like maybe like a better card that we could play, right? Like we haven't put in the Night Watch yet. We haven't put in. We have Preparing for Battle that could be useful. And then my last one is Floating Around My Babies for just more damage. Because, like, Floating Around My Babies is going to be pound for pound better than Start with the Basics in the long run. Because this is +2 on 1 move, and this is +1 on every move you play for all time, right? If you play 3 attacks, Floating is technically a better exchange rate, and it doesn't commit itself. So you can keep playing those attacks. Whereas this one, we are selling out. We are essentially making any of our moves +1 more difficult in order to get the extra stats.
Yeah, that is true.
The only thing is like it's a 4 mid block, which is essentially not a block. So I think like playing 2 of this is really, really cool. And but this card does also like kind of counter our Sugar Rush power up, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Back to 55 question mark.
55 right now, yeah. Yeah, 55.
My very last thing is I think that you are going to want 1 more copy of each of these cards. And I don't know what to cut for them. Hero Killer is Insane. Hero Killer is genuinely not a fair card.
I don't know how many busted other foundations there are.
If you go first,
Mhm.
if you go first and you play double Hero Killer, your opponent can't play any defense. You just put their defense in the toilet. They build sticky balls. They build they build challenging the fakes, right? They build both those cards under order, and you just snipe both of them and say, "No, I'm attacking you this next turn. I'm in. I'm down. You don't get the 2 best cards that you tried to build this turn." This 1-for-1 while you're on the play is so nuts. It's not great when you're behind, but it's just so good when you're ahead. It is like the definition of evil. Yeah.
Okay.
If anything, I would say increase it by 1, and we can leave challenging the fakes. You're gonna love this card, man. I don't want XR cards, but if this is a good looking XR, I would play 4 of this card. This card is up there with. I mean, I've been gushing about Confused all day. I think this is my favorite foundation in the set.
I will agree with you. If it's an XR, it's gonna be a real pretty XR. Yeah.
I want to see more of that big beautiful face of his.
To make room for the third challenge in the fakes, maybe you trim the spooky, having the sideboard.
I don't hate that. I don't like spooky. I don't think it's a very good card. But if you like the card, you should play the card, right? I just know that this card sometimes just ends people's turns, especially with it when you get to use it as a tactic with challenging the fakes and then quick create. I mean, -3 damage is great, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, we can do that.
And then put this in at the 4. Still at 56. Is 56 okay?
Yeah. I think 56 is still relatively low enough to be doing what I'm looking to do.
Yeah. Imagine you're a Hero Killer, you're rare, your opponent builds an Excited for Blood against you, and you just laugh at them.
You're just no.
You're just actually remove that card from the game, silly. You goober, get that out of here.
Yeah, it's true. I was only thinking of Hero Killer as a spot answer to really busted stuff like creepies. But yeah, you're right. This is whatever your best card is, get rid of it because I'm gonna be up ahead is kind of not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, super into that. All right, time to order a couple Dropkick Slicers. They're the only card I don't have from the new set.
Nice. I also, if I'm playing all my deck, I'm also playing Dropkick Slicer because that card's sweet. All right, buddy. Let me shoot you this list, and thank you for the support over on Patreon. I'm excited. Let me know how it goes. I'm excited to see how this Invincible class works in the deck. It's very cool.
Yeah, I will see you Wednesday.
Yeah, you'll see me Wednesday for coaching. You're 100% right. Yeah. All right, man. Let me end the video, and we'll get it rocking. Peace.